So this is rather strange, but I'm going to make a response video to Lindybeige. He did a video uh, called "Duel of the Biatches" when characters say one thing and mean another. And great video, very funny. I'm gonna put the link to the video in the description, so you should really go watch that first. His voice acting in it is great, and he makes some really good observations, and it's a great video. And this isn't a video to contradict anything about what he was talking about. It was just at the end when he started talking about how it is difficult in comics to kind of do this sort of narrative maneuver. So what I thought I would do is I would do some drawing and show ways that it can be done. So let's get to it. Now let's start with simple staging, where we have two characters talking to each other, and they're obviously slightly antagonistic, but they don't really want to reveal that in their actions or in their body language or anything like that, or in their dialogue. So we've got these two smiling faces and they're across from each other. So how can we just take that, two heads, and add some awkwardness without doing anything like tilting the camera weird or anything like that? Or how can we just take that and make it weird? And so what we could do is we can put a physical divider between them in the background, like this. So compositionally now we have a division between the two. And this is just a simple trick, but it works. It's like your brain creates a boundary now between them and says that, yes, they're in the same space. However, there is something separating these two characters. And you could do this and actually break them up into two panels. This can work, but the thing is that you're almost injecting time now between these two shots, and it potentially disjoints them too much from their physical location that they're in, because it does sort of a weird thing where it bounces out of time in a sense. So I would actually go back here to the physical barrier, and then from there I would do something like maybe in the next panel, no matter what, see here it doesn't really matter what the dialogue is. I mean, who cares what the dialogue is? But in the next panel, I would probably add a weird close-up like this. And now, it doesn't matter what is being said. The fact that the reader is now brought up to this character's mouth in that way, or this close in on them, and it's not their eyes or their hands or something that they're kind of doing. The fact that it's the mouth, you can almost imagine a forked tongue coming out of there. So it does something strange where it kind of makes you think like, oh, I need to be suspicious of this, which is her words, because they might betray her actual feelings. So there's a million ways to do this, but this is an option that I would maybe consider.
Good. Good. I'm glad to hear you're happy.
Somehow I don't completely believe her. I think she might be lying. One more time.
Good. Good. I'm glad to hear you're happy.
All right, so our dialogue here is good, good. I'm glad to hear you're happy. And of course, we don't believe a word she's saying. So how can we show that? How can we get across that slightly uncomfortable bit with this character? So very simply, actually, we can just take a shot of her head here, and her expression can remain pleasant and positive looking. She doesn't have to, have a really bitchy thing going on. She can look pleasant, delivering her line. Good. And then in the next panel, we push in slightly, deliver the next good, but with those dots, kind of bookending the good, we feel that there's a delay, and it feels a little awkward now. And the slight push in, again, expression hasn't really changed, but with that delay and with that pushing in, it makes us kind of question it a little bit more. And then finally, in the last panel, I'm glad to hear you're happy. Push in a little bit more, and finish it off. And also too, with these 3 panels, the way they're kind of descending, and with a slightly large gap between them in the gutters between the panels, it sort of creates a sense of not fully believing what she's saying, and it gives us the impression that her thoughts betray her words. So that's what I would maybe do with this one.
Oh, forgive me. I haven't been at court very long. I get so confused. What's the proper way to address you now? Queen Mother or Dowager Queen?
Ooh, she nasty. Let's listen to that again.
What's the proper way to address you now? Queen Mother or Dowager Queen?
So let's keep the same staging as was in the show, and we'll keep the characters positioned this way. And now she's going to deliver her line. What's the proper way to address you now? And now what we're going to do is we're just going to, in the dialogue, highlight the word now. And what that's going to do when the reader sees that, the reader is going to see now in bold, and it's going to trigger in the reader's mind, oh, right, their relationship has changed. It is different now. And it's going to make the reader very quickly just reflect on the dynamic of their relationship. So when this character is about to get, really nasty coming up, it's or subtly, cunty, it's going to, this now here is actually going to help reinforce that coming up. Sirens, this is for, that's for Lloyd. Never fails. Anyway, so that now will help actually reinforce what is coming up next, which is, we'll go to a close-up, and we have this sort of jolly shot of her saying Queen Mother, and it's a very, it's when you know these characters, it makes her all the more awful in a way. And now what we do with the next one is kind of interesting because it's very subtle, but the next bit of her dialogue really shows, it really kind of reinforces it. So for the next panel, you can simply do something like this. It's very subtle, but going from Queen Mother to or Dowager Queen. Now, that's in bold, almost reinforcing the dig. And what we've done is we've shrunken that second panel down, and we've pulled the camera back from the Queen, so she's sort of being belittled in a sense in these 2 panels. It's sort of minimizing her. It's minimizing her role that her character now has. Or that she plays in whatever in this world. So it's sort of degrading her a little bit. It's sort of minimizing her. Just that little thing of shrinking it down a little bit. And I'm not trying to do over the top stuff because that's not really effective. I'm just trying to show how using very, very simple, subtle, tiny little things can tweak your brain and make you get a response out of something. So something as simple as Queen Mother to or Dowager Queen, it's this kind of feeling, and you realize oh yeah, wow, yeah, she nasty. She's a nasty girl. So anyway, that's what I would do with that one. Now the character walking away while they hear the laughter behind them and all this kind of stuff. There's a ton of different ways you could do this, but I just thought I would throw this one out here. You just to throw out something different. So you've got kind of these ha-ha-has, Joker style, almost a little over the top. But you get the idea. It's I'm just trying to show how, in the comic medium, there's these different tools that you have where you can have these ha-ha-has sort of lingering and chasing the character almost, kind of like this, almost like a voice in their head that they can't get rid of. So, yeah, there's an option for that. And actually, I'm going to get rid of the guys behind her because that looks bad. Let's say she always has 2 guys flanking her, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter because this is better than this. So we will go with this. It's more powerful. Anyway, so that's that one. Now I'm just going to throw in something really, really simple here. It's just a head with no expression saying, I'm happy. And all right, I don't have any reason to not believe you. You look pretty happy, I guess. I don't know it. You know, I'll take this creature for its word. You know, it's happy. Okay, now let's take that exact same image and, you know, copy paste and just tweak it slightly. Not change the expression at all. Just shift the composition of the panel, and all of a sudden, it's weird. And let's take that I'm happy, the text, make it a little smaller, put it in a bigger bubble. And now that text, it's taken on a different tone now. And this figure, because of its placement, being a little more insignificant, kind of in the bottom corner, and with a bit of a cast shadow, nothing's changed. The character has the exact same expression, it's the exact same dialogue. All it is it's just a simple reframing in a very subtle way, but it really does change the nature of what's being said. So now in the first panel on the left, you've got I'm happy, and you're like, yeah, I believe you. Second one, I'm happy, you're like, nah, I think you might be a school shooter. So little things like that. One of the reasons why this scene works so well, aside from the amazing writing and everything else, I mean, it's great performances and all that stuff, but the big reason why it works so well is because we know these people. We have, over the hours that we've spent with them, we're really connected to these characters. We know their ins and outs and their motivations and all of this. And so when we watch a scene like this unfold, there's the narrative and the dialogue and the performance that's being laid out in front of us, but we as the audience are also constructing our own parallel interpretation of that at the same time. So it's kind of a participatory sort of thing. Because of our own participation as the viewer, as the audience, we are getting a double whammy, and it just turns this scene up to an 11. If we were meeting these people for the first time, I don't think that it would have the same weight that it does. It would still be a great scene. It would still open up a lot of questions, like, say, even the comment about the wine and being too early. You know, we'd understand that that's probably some kind of jab, but I don't know if it would have the same heaviness that it has here if it was for the first time. So part of it is relying on the fact that we know these characters, although with the pauses in the dialogue, with the strange delivery, with the kind of uneasiness that we feel, that we see with them, we know something's up. And then with the laughter at the end, it's just this sinister, like, it's so nasty. It's just so it's so good. It works really well. And yeah, in comics, it's difficult. I don't want to say it's more difficult, because I think in film it's also very difficult. I think pulling something like this off in any medium is very difficult. But what's required is just the ability to do it. And here in this scene, this Game of Thrones scene, you see it. You see that ability come through. And I mean, obviously these are uber talented people. So, and of course, if you're not aware, Lindybeige, aka Nicholas Lloyd, he is writing In Search of Hannibal, which is a comic project that I'm currently working on. So check it out. Links in the description. And all right, have a good one. Thanks for popping by. Like and subscribe or whatever, all that other stuff. Okay, cheers.